I'm Joshua Salzman.
And I'm Farah Alvin.
Oh, you're such a dork! And I don't feel the way I should.
You're doing great. Everyone's doing great. Josh and I met in grad school at NYU, and we wrote our thesis together, which would eventually become I Love You Because, which is where we met Farah.
But you say you know me.
I would say we know Farah earlier. Our first year of grad school, I don't know if you remember this, Mel Marvin, one of our composition teachers, invited a number of singers into a room and said to the composers, it's really important. Do you remember this now?
No.
We're in the audience. You don't know that we're in the audience.
No.
We haven't met yet.
And we're not yet Salzman and Cunningham.
I mean, I didn't know I was supposed to impress you.
And I remember, Farah, specifically you sang Bill Finn's I Have Found.
I Have Found, Wow, okay.
And this is very vivid for me. And I just remember hearing that voice and going, oh my goodness, like that's how professional singers sing. You ruined me, because I thought everybody sings like you. It was like, do you hear this voice? And then I found out that not everyone sings like that. And that was lying, because Farah's ridiculous. Hearing you belt out that song, it was like, okay, so that's what we're writing for. I get it.
Let's put all our songs in a ridiculous key.
In an impossible to sing key. Ladies and gentlemen, it is okay to sing in a different key than the song it's recorded in.
Whatever sounds good in your voice.
We had a great time. I think we all felt, you guys were very young. You were kind of wunderkinds by the time we started, because you went right from undergrad to grad school, right? We were all old and wizened and crusty, angry New York people by that old 30-year-olds. But I think we all felt like, oh, we're adults. I was at an audition the other day, and some girl came over to me and she went, I'm so sorry to bother you, but I'm a big fan of yours, and I Love You Because got me through college. And I'm like, oh, that is so sweet. And I'm like, oh, you were in college? I'm how many years older than you? Oh my God. I'm trying to take that too much to heart in a bad way, that we're so old and actually now old and crusty and wizened.
What is exciting to me about the life that show has taken on, when we first started it, it was an assignment to ourselves to write a show for colleges. And so we were writing it, and we were like, oh, maybe it'll get done at some college someday. And then we were lucky enough to get it done off Broadway. It's had a regional life, and it's had an international life and all that kind of stuff. But the place where I'm happiest to see it is in colleges where we first intended it to be. And so to hear that college students are, like, it's getting them through college, that's amazing. It's what we intended. We just took the, very long way.
Circuitous way
to get to colleges. It's probably an easier way to get to colleges.
Sometimes I'll be ready to audition for something, or sitting in a hallway at a studio where there's lots of people going in and out, and I will hear the dulcet tones of a young singer singing one of the songs from I Love You Because. I think it's usually even those. Usually the song that seems to land pretty well on auditions. I do hear a lot of young people singing it, and it's really high. And we should just discuss that my voice sits in a very specific place, and you don't have to sing it in that key.
We would not be offended. Oh, we want to talk about when the person almost died?
There's a club downtown called Le Poisson Rouge, and many years ago that club used to be called the Village Gate Theater, and it's where, Calcutta, I think, ran for like 700 years. Our set designer built this kind of a runway stage. It was like a kind of wavy line down the middle of the theater, and there was audience on both sides of us. It's the end of Act 1, and it's this very tense moment between Marcy and Colin, I almost just said, to Marcy and Austin. It's this very tense moment. And he says, I love you. And she basically says, I can't say I love you. I don't want that right now. Because she has major commitment issues. And it's a very quiet, teeny tiny little moment. Two people sitting quietly on stage. And at about the beginning of the song, we hear something going on. At some point, I found myself facing directly out to the audience and singing the song, and
not to Colin,
to the person, and looking at a man clutching his chest and moving down the aisle, toward the stage, like he was dying. And I continued to sing because the show must go on, I guess. I was somewhere around the second verse, just singing to this man who was clearly dying. And one of our producers, he didn't die.
This is a good ending.
So cut to the end. He was fine. He was fine. I continued to sing until I saw our producer standing a few feet behind said man, going, Farah, Farah, Farah. And I was like, huh? And he goes,
I'm Marcy. Who are you talking to?
He goes, exactly. He goes, stop singing, stop singing. And I was like, okay. And I turned to Colin to see what to do, and he had left the stage.
I was sitting behind that man.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that I also didn't know he was dying. And so I was like, dude, it's the last song. Can you wait like 30 seconds?
We're so close to the end of Act 1. And can I do a spoiler of the show
Yeah,
right
it's
now?
fine.
Okay,
It's fine.
so
If
the
you
end of
don't
Act
know
1,
by
Marcy
now.
says, I can't love you right now, and Austin's totally heartbroken, and then there's like some music. Remember the music? The after
Songs
Just Not
over?
Now. There's like the heartbroken music, and Colin walked like this, like a sad clown, and then he goes and he opens the door to his apartment, and on the other side is his ex-girlfriend who we don't really see, and he goes, Catherine, and that's the end of Act 1. So it's like I got chills. So it's very exciting, right? But we didn't get there because the man had the bad shellfish. So we took a longer intermission, and then Ryan Cunningham came on the stage and explained to the audience what they would have seen.
Yeah, that's the best theater.
If the man had
is
not
when the
died.
writer comes out and reads stage directions. That's the best thing you can hope for at the end of the first
Yeah,
act.
I actually was just in this show called It Shoulda Been You that was running on Broadway, and I was standing by for the fantastic Lisa Howard, and all of a sudden Lisa got sick, and at places they were like, you're on, like craziness. And this was just a few months ago, so I'm still traumatized. And then all of a sudden, right before the curtain goes up, they go, ladies and gentlemen, the role of Jenny Steinberg, normally played by Lisa Howard, will be played by Farah Alvin. And the audience, and then they were like, what? Like, they're going to experience something that's so unusual.
Right.
So I do think when you have a weird, and they were so behind me and they were awesome. And I think that night, too, the audience really got on board because you've gone, it's the magic of live theater, right? You've gone through this very strange, intimate experience together. And it was probably a treat for them to go, oh, that's the writer. You know? So I guess the point of this is you should have an emergency. Shows.
Everyone always asks what comes first, the music or the lyrics, and our always answer is the idea and what is the song about. However, at some point you do have to write the lyrics or the music, and just in our collaboration it really usually is lyrics first. As a lyricist, one of the hardest things to do is not actually crafting the lyric, but to come up with a matrix on which to hang the lyric. To find ways to break that sort of natural human rhyming rhythm is helpful. And one of the ways is that you actually use someone else's lyric matrix, hopefully someone who's dead. And
brilliant.
and knew what they were doing.
And brilliant, exactly. And then after you do that, the musician or composer takes over. They change it enough that eventually it's not a complete rip-off of what had happened, but it's a place to start and sort of force your thinking into ways that you wouldn't otherwise think. So Just Not Now, perhaps one of the reasons that it is as popular as it is that it is based on the matrix of a famous jazz standard.
So Ryan sends it to me. Sends me the lyric. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Sends me the lyric, and on a first read, I call him on him. I take a look at it and I go, this is Gershwin. This is not for me. What did you do?
They're writing songs of love, but not for me. A lucky star's above, but not for me. With love to lead the way, I found more clouds of gray than any Russian play could guarantee.
It's far prettier than I'm playing it, but not prettier than you're singing it.
Oh,
That's
you're
lovely.
nice.
How do I make it not sound like that song? Okay, let's make it very rangy, because we start with these steps in this song. And let's make it start not on a pickup. And what if we come in on the end of one? 1, 2, 3, 4. I want true love someday. And that was the sort of the original impulse.
Do you want to hear the
we should do
lyrics
that.
of Just Not Now to
Oh my
a
God.
tune of But
Yeah.
Not For Me?
I'll redeem myself on these chords. That's it.
I want true love someday, but just not now. A picket fence cliche, but just not now. How can I make you see,
though
yours
this
feels
right
right
to me? Now's not the time to be quite where you are. So there's this bridge that is not attributable to any Gershwin song, and that's
Right,
where I
so
think we
we,
can avoid getting sued.
Magic happens.
That's this.
2, 3.
Let's take some time, we'll wait it out, or else we'll crash and burn. I'm lost and I don't know what true love's all about. Please give me time to learn.
And so that is just from the
That's just
That's
Salzman
just
Cunningham.
us. Very dramatic.
The
And
magic.
here's the final section.
I want so much to say.
Okay.
Okay, I love you too. I will, but not today. You know, I know you do.
And though it's
It's
hard,
hard,
you
you
must
must control your heart and trust. I want to be with you, just not now.
And then actual score.
Man
we get
has a heart
that
attack.
Catherine
And then a
moment.
man has a heart attack, and then he goes, Catherine?
And that is how you rip off a Gershwin song.
I need to say I love you anyway.